Imagine for a moment that you are sitting beside a river, watching leaves drift along the surface. The current moves without effort, without hurry, without any intention to arrive anywhere. And yet, while you are watching, a curious thing happens. You begin to measure how long a leaf takes to pass a certain stone, whether it moves faster today than yesterday, and whether tomorrow it may slow down again. In that moment, you have not only seen the leaf, you have invented the idea of duration. You have pulled something abstract over something immediate. You have created time. Now imagine someone who has lived their entire life along that river. They wake with the sun and sleep when night comes. They know nothing of hours or schedules or deadlines. Life is simply the rhythm of experience. In fact, that is how human beings lived for thousands upon thousands of years. Then, at some point, we decided that reality needed to be domesticated, tamed, enclosed in little boxes. And we invented the clock. I say invented because that is precisely what happened. Time is something you invented and forgot you made. You constructed it like a carpenter builds a chair and then sat on it and said, "This is the natural shape of things." Time, as you ordinarily imagine it, is not some divine script written across the sky. It is a psychological measuring tape. Now, before you assume that I am denying the obvious cycles of day and night, or the aging of the body, let me be quite clear. The sun rises and sets, yes. Trees grow, seasons change, bodies wrinkle and eventually return to the earth. But the sensation that life is moving from past to future in a straight line, the sense of a timeline with boxes labelled beginning, middle and end, is something purely conceptual. It is the mind taking snapshots and pretending they form a continuous film. Consider your experience right now. Are you living in the past? You cannot. The past is a memory. Are you living in the future? You cannot. The future is expectation, imagination. What you have, what you are, is a continuous unfolding moment. A now that is never static. A now that dances. When you look carefully at this moment, you discover that it does not stand still long enough to be called a moment. It is already dissolving into what you call the next moment, which itself dissolves into another. So time, as you conceive it, is rather like trying to grab running water. You cup your hands around it, but it slips through the cracks, and you insist it should stay put. What humans truly suffer from is not time, but the illusion that we must chase it. We say things like, "I need more time. I want my time back. I cannot waste my time." But you cannot waste something that is not yours in the first place. You did not create the flow of existence. You only named its movement. Think of a melody. When you listen to music, you do not say, "Play the final note first." You want the song to unfold. You want its rhythm. You want crescendo and release. You want the pauses between the notes. Time is like music. You are not supposed to hold it. You are supposed to hear it and let it pass through you. Yet modern living has made time into an enemy, something that stands behind you with a ticking finger. We invented clocks as tools of convenience, and then became slaves to them. You set alarms and reminders and schedules, and somewhere along the line forgot that life is not a calendar. You began to organize your days like files in a drawer, believing that each must serve a purpose, each must prove something. And when you fail to keep up with this imaginary flow, you feel anxious. You feel that life has run ahead of you and that you are late to your own existence. In truth, you cannot be late because you are the event. The river does not run past you. You are the flow itself, the unfolding of reality, looking at itself through your eyes. The child understands this intuitively. The child does not worry that playtime is almost over. The child does not organize memories into a coherent biography. Yesterday might as well have been 1,000 years ago. Tomorrow does not yet exist. The child lives in what is happening now, and so they are free. The wise person returns to this innocence, not through ignorance, but through recognition. Recognition that the great ticking machine of the mind is a wonderful instrument, yet not the truth of life. When you stop gripping time like a rope, you stop swinging between past and future, and you return to what is actually happening, which is always the same thing: life happening. Now let us go even deeper. If time is invented, forgotten, and imposed upon the natural flow of experience, then we must ask, what is it hiding? What does this invention distract you from seeing? What it obscures is a living mystery. The fact that every moment is not moving somewhere else, but arising anew. Life does not move forward. It blossoms. A flower does not progress. A wave does not advance. The wind does not schedule its arrival. The moon is not late for its rising. Everything happens not in time, but as time. You do not exist within a timeline, like a character walking across a stage. You are the stage itself, discovering its own performance, moment to moment. Look at how you experience memory. Memory is not storage. Memory is imagination occurring now. When you recall an event from childhood, that memory is not inside your skull like a file pulled from a drawer. It is a present imagination. The past is an echo sounded now. The future is possibility, imagined now. Even regret is happening now. Even anticipation is happening now. Everything happens now. So what is now? It is the awareness in which all experience appears. It is the presence in which breath moves, heart beats, thought unfolds, and sensation appears. It is the only territory you ever enter. Now, because the mind cannot grasp this fluid presence directly, it slices it into segments. It divides flowing reality into little pieces called hours and minutes, like cutting a river into cubes. Then it calls the cubes real. and then it forgets that it itself did the cutting. This forgetfulness creates suffering, because once you think of time as something separate from yourself, you begin to believe that your life is running away from you. You believe you must chase it. You believe you must achieve something before a deadline. You believe there is a finish line, and that if you do not reach it in time, you will have failed. Tell me, failed at what? Do you think the universe runs a scorecard? When a leaf falls from a tree, has it failed to remain green? When a wave dissolves back into the ocean, has it failed to remain a crest? When the sun sinks beneath the horizon, has it failed to remain day? The truth is, nothing comes before it is meant to, and nothing remains when it has served its purpose. To surrender the illusion of time is to surrender the illusion of control. You think you are moving toward something, toward wisdom, toward love, toward a destination. Yet you never actually arrive anywhere. You only uncover, layer by layer, what was already present. This is the secret. You imagine that life unfolds through time. In reality, life unfolds as you. The movement you call time is simply the dance of appearance and disappearance. Moments arise, dissolve, arise, dissolve. Experiences bloom and fade. But nothing is truly lost, because nothing ever stood apart long enough to be separate. Death frightens us because we think our story ends. But stories end only when you imagine that they began. You believe you started somewhere and must therefore conclude somewhere else. But consider this. Before your birth, the universe was happening perfectly well. After you leave this form, it will continue happening perfectly well. Your presence here is like a flash of lightning, illuminating only long enough for wonder to exist, and wonder is enough. When you see that time is not carrying you toward an ending, but revealing you moment by moment, you begin to live without tension. You stop competing with your own life. You stop running after later and begin to trust now. People often ask, but how do I live without time? Quite simply, you do not eliminate clocks. You simply see them as instruments, not commandments. You rise when you must rise. You meet others when you must meet them. Yet underneath all of that, you know something deeper. You know that you are not rushing anywhere. You know that no moment is better than this one. You know that even the most ordinary experience is a perfect unfolding of presence. To recognize this is not to drift into passivity. It is to flow with life instead of dragging it behind you. There is a relief in discovering that nothing is postponed and nothing is premature. Whatever arises is the appropriate moment. When you walk, you do not hurry to arrive at your feet. When you breathe, you do not try to get to the next breath faster. When you love, you do not rush toward the future of love. You simply love. When you understand time not as a line, but as an ever-renewing happening, you awaken to an intimacy with existence. You meet life directly. You no longer stand outside your experience, judging whether it is progressing correctly. You become the unfolding itself. And then, something extraordinary happens. There is no more waiting, no more wishing, no more believing that salvation will come later. You find that what you sought on the horizon was always in your hands. The journey was not toward a destination, it was toward recognition. Recognition that this moment is not part of life. This moment is life, and always has been.